everybody, and welcome to my video today. I am excited to be back with Pip Todman, my friend from the UK. And instead of doing Suite of Possibilities, where we pick an entire suite of product and we share it, we are doing themed projects. And so we are doing animal cards this month, and we're gonna do we're just gonna call it Stamping with Friends, and we hope that you will join us. So I have I'm gonna make 3 cards all together, but I have 2 stamp sets. One is a retired stamp set, that is the Zany Zebra, and then the other Party Puffins is not a new stamp, but is current, but it does retire at the end of the month. So if you want to pick up the Party Puffin stamp, you'll want to do that now, along with this beautiful paper. This is the animal paper, and it is retiring at the end of the month. The colors I'm using, I'm going to create 2 cards using the zebra stamp set in the purple. So I'm going to be using Highland Heather and basic black and some inks there. And then for the Puffins one, I will be using my favorite Bermuda Bay, which is retiring and you can't even get anymore. It is all sold out. I will also be using Mint Macaroon, and then I will be pairing that with a brand new color that is returning, and that is Pretty Peacock, and then a couple other blues. So we're going to get started. I'm going to make a total of 3 cards. I wanted to give you lots of ideas on what you could do with some animal cards and with this beautiful paper. The paper has foil on it, which is really pretty. And I really loved the silver and gray pieces. They were so beautiful. The other sides have a little bit of brown on them, and they are pretty too, but I just did not use those. So here I'm just going to sort my paper. I'm going to start with the purple and the basic black. So that's Highland Heather and then basic black. We're going to cut this at 5.5, and that is going to be our card base. I'm going to score the basic black. I had to wait a minute to remember what I was doing. I just scored the basic black because the basic black is a little bit thicker. It always feels like. I don't typically score my cards. I usually just fold them because I don't like them not lining up perfectly. But with the basic black, it does crack a little bit more if you don't score it. So I went ahead and scored it. I'm sorry about my camera shaking. It'll stop here in just 1 second. So I have those 2 card bases there, and then I'm going to use Highland Heather. I love Highland Heather. It's such a beautiful color. I'm glad it did not retire. And I'm going to add card fronts to this. If I were to do these cards over again, I would emboss the first piece of Highland Heather, and you'll see that in my finished cards, that I think it would have added a nice touch to do some embossing on that. I'm going to do stamping on one of them, and then I'm going to leave the other one plain, but I really would have, I think it would have looked really pretty to do embossing on it. So my designer paper is cut at 2.5 by 3 3/4, and that is because I'm going to layer them. So I'm sort of doing these both at the same time. I'm getting the idea of them at the same time. I'm going to use that pattern piece of paper underneath my basic black card because my mat is black, and sometimes it's hard to see the card base if it's black. So I'm going to pull out some purple ribbon. I just pulled out a couple that I was going to try out. And this darker, gorgeous grape ribbon that came in a paper pumpkin kit. It is shimmery and beautiful. I think it actually might be in Highland Heather, but I know it came in a paper pumpkin box. And so it's not available currently. I don't believe, unless I'm just totally wrong, which I could be. So here is the zebra stamp. And again, this one is retired. It is not available, but I don't have very many animal stamps that are not retired. So I actually did not get to use the zebra one. I don't think I used it at all when it was available, which is unfortunate. But I thought it was so cute, and this paper just called out to use it. So I am going to use it. I'm sorry it's retired and unavailable, but the other stamp set that I use is available until the end of April. Okay, so my Highland Heather piece is, see right here, my paper, my basic black paper is not lined up, and it drives me bananas. I really hate that. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife to just clean up that edge, but that is why I always fold and I never score. So the Highland Heather cardstock that I have, I cut it at 4 by 5 1/4. So it's going to be the first layer on the card. I'm just cleaning that up. See, it's so annoying when that happens. So I cleaned that up, and then this layer here, this is the one I wish I would have embossed with a fun design. I just didn't think about it until after I had glued everything together. So I'm going to add that to the front of the card. And you can see I already have ink all over my hands. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm creating cards, I just get ink everywhere. I don't know. I'm a messy, messy stamper. So I'm going to add this layer here, and this is 2.5 by 3 3/4 to the bottom. So that's why I was thinking the top of that would have looked really pretty embossed and even inked a little bit. So I'm going to do a fake bow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a smaller piece of the ribbon and I'm going to tie it. I'm going to do that really tight and make sure that it's nice and flat on both ends. See how I'm rearranging the ribbon as I'm tightening it? And that is going to give us the look of a bow without having to fuss with it. To make it a bow. So I'm going to clean up the edges because it frayed when I pulled on it. I pulled on the very end of it and it frayed a little bit. But you can move that bow around on the ribbon because it's just tight on there. So you can move it up and down the ribbon. And then in order to attach this, I'm just going to use some adhesive. Now I'm going to grab some non-Stampin' Up! Brand adhesive in my roller adhesive. I was looking for my seal, but it was out and I needed to refill it and I didn't want to take the time. But you can use this roller adhesive, any kind of adhesive that you have that rolls like that. It will hold down ribbon just fine. And the seal, particularly the Seal Plus, will really hold that ribbon down and you don't have to use glue and you don't have to worry about it. So that works. And then I'm going to take a lighter and I'm just going to burn the edges. I'm going to melt the edges of the ribbon so it doesn't fray. Now, don't burn your house down. Like if you're under the age of 18, like totally get permission. Like don't try to come at me if your ribbon catches on fire. Mine has totally done that in the past. You just have to be careful. If you burn the ends of the ribbon, they won't fray. And it does give it this really nice look to it. And it also will straighten out your ribbon if you didn't cut it straight or you have a problem cutting it straight. I'm not the best at cutting it straight, and sometimes my scissors, I don't use the right scissors on my ribbon. So that can help that out. But seriously, just be careful because it can catch on fire. I was FaceTiming with a friend recently and she was doing that and she caught her ribbon on fire when we were on FaceTime. It was just funny. It was fine. Like nobody was harmed. Like the house didn't burn down, but it was fine. But it did catch on fire. So here I'm taking Highland Heather ink and I am stamping from the, this stamp, the Happy Birthday, I believe is from the Puffin, Party Puffins. And I'm just stamping repeatedly Happy Birthday. And you can see I'm offsetting it so that they don't line up. And I was really impressed with how straight I managed to stamp this. I was stamping and like halfway through it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is coming out so straight. I'm so excited. And then I was like, don't think about it because it'll mess up. So I don't know if you ever had that happen where you're like, I'm doing such a great job. And then like it all goes bad. So I was like, just don't think about it. So I stamped Happy Birthday all over that. And now I'm changing the whatever I'm watching on TV. I just forgot to edit that out. I was putting something on the TV. And then I'm going to add this paper. This paper is the same size as the last one. It's 2.5 by 3 3/4. And the Highland Heather paper is 4 by 5 1/4. And so I just cover up that bottom part. And then with this ribbon, we're going to wrap it around the card. So you're going to get 2 pieces of tape. You're going to line that up and then you're going to swiftly flip it over. And then just add the tape to the back. It's my favorite little way to add that ribbon. It feels so fun when you flip it over. to tape it. And then on the back, I'm going to add some foam tape, and I'm going to put it right over that ribbon, so it's going to help hold that ribbon in place even more. So right there, I'm adding that foam. I don't want anything to sink in the middle, so I'm going to make sure to add a good amount of it. And then I will add this to the basic black cardstock. I will change my TV one more time. I was probably watching YouTube, which is my favorite thing to watch while I'm crafting, is YouTube. Okay, so then I'm going to add this circle, which is exactly how I did the other card. I just added that happy birthday to this one. I don't know that I added a sentiment. Oh, I did add a sentiment to the other one. I might have missed it, or it might be coming up. I think I wasn't sure how to add the sentiment on the first one, so I was trying to think it through, but I will add one here in just a second. While I think through on how to add a sentiment to that first card, I got out my Nouveau drops and in this really beautiful metallic purple, and that's how I'm going to add a little bit of extra to this card here. And then if you add like your Nouveau drops, or Stampin' Up! Has that pearlized drops, they're in red, silver, I think red and silver. You can flick the bottom of your project, and it will help to get the air bubbles out of those drops. So that's just a tip. That's what I did there at the very end. I just opened up the card and very gently flicked the bottom of the card, and then I set it totally away from me, because the worst thing is when you are making a project like this and you add those pearlized drops and then you set it right by you and then you put your hand in it. It is the worst. So here I've just grabbed a stitched little rectangle piece. Now the stitched rectangles are retiring. So at the time that I am filming this and doing the voiceover, they were available. But if you do not have these stitched rectangle dies, you are going to want to pick those up, because after the month of April, they will be gone and you will not be able to purchase them. I have 2 sets of them because I love them so much. And that's where this little die cut came from. So I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape, and I'm going to stamp Wild About You, which came from the Zebra set. And it's just a smaller sentiment, which is what I needed. I'm going to stick that right in the middle, even though you see my head and all my gray hair. I'm not lucky enough to have pink hair like Pip, which is beautiful. If you haven't seen it, since she recently dyed it, you will want to make sure to pop over to her video and check out her beautiful, bright pink hair. I am always so jealous when I see her pink hair. I saw it right after the day she did it. We had a Zoom meeting, and it was so pretty. I loved it. So make sure you check that out. So I'm going to add the sentiment right here on the bottom, and then I'm going to grab a couple embellishments, and I'm going to add a couple jewels to this. The ones that I'm going to grab are the In Color jewels from this year, and again, these will be gone, I believe, at the end of the month. So if you want to pick them up, you can. And I'm going to use the light purple. So I think, yeah, these are retiring In Colors. So I am going to use this really light purple. And instead of sprinkling them on the card like I always do, I am going to just add them to where the sentiment is. And I think it looks beautiful. The purple really goes well. So those are the first 2 cards, again with the stamp set that is retired, and we're going to jump right in to using these party puffins, which are retiring, and we're going to use Bermuda Bay ink and Pretty Peacock. They go really beautiful together. And then Mint Macaroon and Bermuda Bay. I am devastated that Bermuda Bay is leaving, and I totally picked up a re-inker and a couple packs of cardstock to be able to use, so you will probably definitely see that. The other set of cardstock that I picked up that I'm just really sad to see leaving is Sahara Sand. So I picked up like 5 packs of that because I use it a lot in my memory keeping, and so I picked that up. So with this Bermuda Bay card, I cut it at 4 1/4, and that gave me my card. And then I cut off 2 inches, so you can see that it's going to be a fun fold kind of card. So then you saw right on the back of that where it's a more of a brownish color. I did not use that side. I'm only going to use the silver side, the gray side of this paper. For this mint macaroon piece, I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then my pattern piece, I'm going to cut at 3 3/4. And then I'm going to cut it at 5 inches. And this is going to create a layer for inside of the card. It's going to go right inside just like that. And I'm just using my liquid glue to attach this. I'm sorry about the shaking of my camera. As always, I always forget to edit that little piece out whenever I zoom in or zoom out. I tend to forget that it shakes a little bit. So I'm going to add this piece on the inside because you're going to be able to see the inside of the card. Now you can write your sentiment on the opposite side. So when the person opens it up, it will be on the opposite side. Your sentiment or your note to that person will be on the other side. But you can see that really pretty piece on the on that side. So you're going to cut this at 4 inches by, I think 3 1/4 is what I just did. And it's really beautiful, this design here. And like I said, it shimmers, goes really great with the Bermuda Bay. It's so pretty. I don't know how anybody could get rid of Bermuda Bay. I don't know if I'm gonna really recover from losing this color or not. I do like Pretty Peacock, and it makes me want to change all of my decor in my office to Pretty Peacock. It makes me want to do my Bermuda Bay wall and Pretty Peacock. My husband is like, no, that is not gonna happen. But I guess I'll just have to live with it and get over it, right? So we're gonna stamp these little guys. I'm just trying to figure out where exactly I want these pieces to go. And this is what I often will do when I'm trying to figure it out, is I just lay the stamps on the piece I want to put. So the one stamp that does not have a sticker on it is a birthday cake. And then I obviously want a sentiment to be on there. So that is how I'm trying to figure out what exactly to do. I will stamp I think I stamp Happy Birthday in Pretty Peacock, which is a beautiful color. I really do feel like that color is just a really great updated color for Bermuda Bay. It's a little bit darker, and it is really beautiful. So as of, I kept that ink pad. And so this was before I did my pre-order, but currently I have received my pre-order and received all of the new beautiful pretty colors. And I love them. I love them in our lineup. I love seeing my cardstock all together in these new colors. They are just a gorgeous addition to Stampin' Up! So I'm going to do the cake. So we have the little puffin, and then we have Make a Wish, and then we're going to color the birthday cake. So I'm not going to color all of it. I could have went back in and did like a yellow for the actual cake part, but I just really did like what would be the icing, and then the candles and the plate. So I know this is probably not like a real frosting color. I mean, I guess it could be, but I'm using my Wink of Stella and the ink pad to add color to it. And you can see that I can achieve some shading or some, like it where it looks very blended by using my Wink of Stella. That Wink of Stella is going to give you a lot of control, and then it's going to add some shimmer. And so for the frosting, I did it darker on one side and lighter on the next. And then on the plate, I did the light in the middle. And then I did the candles, and I don't actually remember if I colored the very tops of the candles. I might have forgot to do that. They might have got left blank. But if I did, I'll go back and just add some yellow to it for the candles. And then I left the rest of the cake part just white, which you can totally do. You don't have to color every single thing. I'm not great at coloring. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do. So I just color the way I want to color, and I don't worry about if it's perfect or if it's realistic or if it's right or wrong. You can just do it however you want to do it. So I'm going to add some sequins to this one, and you know that's my favorite go-to. These sequins are by Lucy's Cards, I think it's called. I get them on Simon Says. And my tip for these sequins is to space your glue dots out. So I add the glue dots, but I'm going to find out real quick that they're too close together. And that's going to be a little bit, I'm going to have to space them out a little bit. And I just use my X-Acto knife to put those on, and I've just spaced them out. They match perfectly. These are some of my favorite sequins because they're in my favorite color, which is this teal Bermuda Bay, beautiful color. So right up here is where the problem happens, and that's okay. You just space it out. What is it? Just a happy little accident? I've been watching a lot of Bob Ross lately, so just a happy little accident. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing all 3 of these cards. Again, there is a last chance list on Stampin' Up! With Stampin' Up! Right now. At the end of April, there's a whole bunch of things that retire. And on May 2nd, the new catalog launches, which is so exciting. When you get finished watching this video, make sure you pop over to Pip's video and her blog post and check out her projects. Leave her a comment and let her know that you enjoy her projects. They are always beautiful. And Pip and I will be back later this month, or maybe we already have, talking about our annual catalog paper party, which we're so excited about. On the screen here are 2 more videos. If you want to check those out, you can click on those and take a look at them. If you're brand new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up so I know you love this content. And I will be back later this week with more projects for you. Have a great day, everybody.